understands the law, the next day he doesn't. And the Community Access Programming Operating Rules states, first come, first served. Continental puts out this booklet, Community Access Rules, and the first thing it says is first come, first served, and down about the last page, the last thing it says is first come, first served. So they violate their own rules twice. We were there. We were first come. We must be first served. Is that so hard? So you can see how Hofstadter, Walsh, too, talk out of both sides of their mouths. A court should be an expert as to who is telling the truth and as to who is lying. This court probably knows, but this is a biased, prejudiced court. Now, this order and decision says it has attached a copy of its Community Access Programming Operating Rules and Procedures, Continental has, which state that channel time cannot always be guaranteed and requests are processed on a fair and equitable, non-discriminatory basis subject to availability. Well, that's not what the law says. The law says first come, first served. And it also says first come, first served. And it also says first come, first served. Court, in light of Continental Cablevision's rules coupled with Rainey's affidavit and its evidence tending to show that it has reduced all series programs to 2 cable casts per month, this court cannot conclude that Glendora is likely to succeed on her 531E claim that Continental Cablevision has exercised editorial control over her program or discriminated against her in its allocation of channel time, nor can this court conclude on the record before it that the balance of hardships tipped decidedly in favor. No, this court can do anything. This court can't do anything that's just and fair. Section 595(4) defines public access channel as a channel designated for non-commercial use by the public on a first-come, first-served, non-discriminatory basis. Well, that's the law. We were first come and first served. What else is there to say? Unless you're a biased crook. What has Glendora said about the phony affidavit of Rainey? Obviously, the court did not read the defects Glendora pointed out in that phony affidavit. Obviously, the court did not read Glendora's amicus brief that won in the Second Circuit on January 11, 1995, and the Bryant Court in July 19, 1995. Obviously, this court discriminated against Glendora. Freedom of speech and violation of her 531E right do not tip in Glendora's favor. Where does the decision show same? Tips in defendants' favor. With a biased court like this, defendants have no hardships. Page 15. Court. Glendora has also failed to demonstrate that she is likely to succeed on state law claim Section 829.3 of the New York Executive Law. Section 829.3 provides that no cable television company may prohibit or limit any program or class or type of program presented over a leased channel or any channel made available for public access. It's right there, the law in front of them, and they don't know enough to rule for it. By cutting down Glendora's program more than 50%, these lawbreakers did not prohibit and limit Glendora's program. Come now. Court. That statute does not expressly grant a private right of action, and New York courts have not, to our knowledge, implied one. Well, obviously this court did not read Judge Bryant's decision of July 19, 1996, granting Glendora's private right of action, and the Second Circuit's strong urging of same on vacate and remand on January 11, 1995. It really helps when a law clerk doesn't read both sides. That we really need, folks. Also, Van Graafland's decision we have saying the federal law controls. Court. One court has held that the clear legislative intent of New York's comprehensive framework for supervising and regulating the cable television industry in New York State requires at least the pursuit of administrative remedies before judicial relief is sought. Well, Glendora has not alleged that she pursued her administrative. Why did she have to? She has a private right of action, and that has been adjudicated. But if you're a court clerk like Allison Van Horn, you're not going to read that. You're just going to read one side. I'd like to know what their motive is. I think that Walsh, too, is sweet-talked, little Allison Van Horn. And why doesn't the court mention Glendora's papers and read Glendora's papers? Is Mr. Walsh, too, paying you? Is that why you are 100% biased? And this is 100% biased. You haven't given Glendora one thing in this decision. The Second Circuit will be so pleased to see these same causes of action come back to them. The least you could have done, Allison Van Horn, is read the amicus brief of Professor Perry, law professor, New York University, that won in the Second Circuit. That was the least you could have done. And call yourself a law clerk. Page 17. Court. Glendora has also not shown that she will suffer irreparable harm. Although she alleges that the harm she will suffer is self-evident to Continental Cablevision's interference with her right to freedom of speech, for the reasons stated above, this court is not persuaded that constitutional rights are implicated here. Oh no? What did I just tell you? This report you should be hearing this coming Saturday. But you're not even going to get it, if you get it at all, until another Saturday hence, because of cutting Glendora's program down from every week to every other week. First come, first serve. The law doesn't say take away the people who were there first and put on new people. This is a lie. Glendora showed this amply. This is rank bias. In conclusion, Glendora's motion for preliminary injunction is denied without prejudice to renew, following a substantial discovery. Well, maybe by then this clerk's one-year internship will be up, and Mr. Walsh, too, will have to romance a new one. Glendora's motion for a temporary restraining order is rendered moot by this decision, so ordered. White Plains, New York, March the 12th, 1996. Barrington D. Parker, Jr., United States District Judge. I will tell you, Judge Parker, that I am very disappointed in you, and that I expected a whole lot more from you, coming from your lineage. His father was a United States District Judge in the D.C. Circuit. Now, substantial discovery, if it ever gets rolling. This court is in violation of the law. It has already been adjudicated by Judges Silverman and Bryant that Glendora has a right to be on TV and must be returned to TV, and this court is breaking the law. Where do you go when a judge breaks the law? Both Glendora's free speech press and the public's, yours, is violated by this court that has no more sensitivity than the Gestapo or the KGB. It is not even a toss of the coin or a roll of the dice. It is premeditated collusion. The decision order makes no sense. This court has done nothing for Glendora in 32 weeks. The innocent and the injured get no comfort, only agitation, while the lawbreakers, liars, cover-uppers are coddled. This is a Judge Baer decision. I say if these people can't run the courts, get them out and get somebody in there who can. Point 27, Glendora said, what you read here will be read on TV before you get a chance to censor Glendora again. The public has a right to know where their tax dollars are going. The order to show cause was served on Walsh 2, January the 27th. February the 27th, he has not answered, but Judge Parker just lets him get by. The rule keepers suffer, the rule breakers are coddled. Franklin and Glendora are appalled by the discrepancy of what Judge Parker says February 27th and what Allison Van Horn writes on March the 12th. Here is Judge Parker, a man who knows the law, talking to a man, Thomas Walsh, who doesn't know the law. And that's a page of the minutes where he shows so much insight and so much understanding and clarity, and then he falls all apart. So we included in this printing the 20 pages of the minutes of February the 27th. So it's a terrible backslide, terrible incompetence. At the California Naval Hospital, folks, the sign on the chief surgeon's door, the sign on the chief surgeon's door was Wizard of Gauze. And during the Lyndon Johnson administration, Mrs. Lyndon Johnson took a group of her friends to a restaurant for lunch. And it happened to be a Howard Johnson's. And at the end, her press secretary said to the waitress, "You did very well. I know you were very nervous because it isn't every day that you get to serve Mrs. Lyndon Johnson." And the waitress says, "Mrs. Lyndon Johnson? I thought it was Mrs. Howard Johnson." And One good thing about April is that the weather just starts to warm up, just in time, before the tax collector takes the shirt off your back. Now we're going to report to you on discovery. Discovery is a legal term for fess up and tell the truth. Well, you will find that lawbreakers and liars and cover-uppers like Hofstadter and Nair and DeLorme and Schleier et al. Never do that. They just lie more and cover up more. Now, this Walsh too made a demand on me for any medical reports. Well, he's all wrong about that, and I should read you that demand, except it's gone off to be printed and distributed. I should have kept a copy back to read to you, so I have to read it to you next week. But I don't claim emotional disturbance. Well, I claim emotional disturbance with no physical effect, but this Walsh too, he doesn't know the law. And then Walsh too sends me a demand for verified bill of particulars. Fine. The Federals did away with bills of particulars long and long ago. They don't have them. He's going by a state law in federal court. That's Walsh 2 for you. But anyway, I answered the bill of particulars because I don't mind discovery. I like discovery. It's my chance to know, or to show rather, how much I know, and it's my chance to show that I'm right and that I haven't done anything wrong. But when you've done something wrong, you hate discovery, and you do everything you can to eschew discovery, the way these liars and cover-uppers are doing. That discovery demand was served on me on March 12th, and it was due April the 2nd, Tuesday, during that melee I told you about. And but next week I'll read you both of those papers because they aren't here now. What we really need is for Thomas E. Walsh II to sit down and read Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 26 to 37, Bill of Particulars. And upon them for documents and things. I will read my objections to those when that paper comes back. But they didn't produce anything. They produced a list of public access program producers. We don't know where it is, whether it's on Channel 19 South or whether it's on Channel 19 North. They produced my original contract that I signed with them back in 1993, where I give a local sponsor we've already got that. They produce nothing that we don't have. Here's another copy of it they produce. This public access rescheduled. They don't tell you whether that is Channel 19 South or whether it's Channel 19 North. And then they don't give the addresses and the telephone numbers, which they're required to. Everything they produced I already have. And this is a great trick of lawyers. They hand in a big sheath of paper like this and show it to the judge, but the judge doesn't know that there's nothing in here of any importance, of any significance. This is my demand for documents and things. There were 24 demands, and I don't have them. And not only do they send, they send one copy, and then they send 2 copies. So you will get my answer to that when it comes back from the printers. And that'll be next week. Here are my interrogatories. There's one by Cooper, and there's one by Sanders, and there's one by Hofstadter, and there's one by Rainey. But here's what happens. Thomas Walsh answers all of the questions. He really doesn't answer the questions. He says nothing, he lies and he covers up, and then he goes and has Diane Rainey sign a verification. Now that doesn't give any information, and that's exactly what they're trying to do, is not give any information. Would you like to spend your life being a fugitive? Would you like to spend your life like these people, lying and covering up? Is that what your life is worth? This is the interrogatory of Amos B. Hofstadter, the chairman of the company and the CEO. He says that he has no information as to who took the program off, why it was taken off. I have no knowledge regarding who made the decision to take the Plains Public Access program off cable television. I have no knowledge regarding any alleged pressure exerted on Continental Cablevision by outsiders. I have no knowledge relating to the role, if any, Douglas Guthrie played in the decision to take the Plains Public Access program off. He doesn't know much, does he? And you see this whole thing isn't even written by him. It's written by Thomas Walsh. Thomas Walsh doesn't even sign it. You know, this is nothing. This is nothing. It doesn't give any information. It doesn't tell the truth. What is that? That's just sent to him and he signs it. And it doesn't say anything anyhow, and it doesn't contribute to the justice of the case. Now here's another one saying the very same things. These are things that are just spit out by a copy machine. Written by Thomas Walsh. Not worth anything. And signed by DeLorme. No thought, no brain. An automaton. And this one is the same thing, a bunch of junk, tries to impress the judge that he's done the job, and he's done nothing, he's accomplished nothing, and they have accomplished nothing. And here's another meaningless signature, Douglas Guthrie. Walsh, too, was supposed to present his home address. This one is by Diane Rainey. It says nothing. It doesn't contribute to the cause of justice. It is more lie, cover up with all the same documents that we've got many times before, same ones over and over again. It doesn't list the addresses and the telephone numbers of the public access producers, which is a state law. And here's the same dribble from Melissa Cooper and Greg Sanders. There's a Melissa Cooper in here somewhere. But you can see it's nothing but the same stuff over and over again. And Walsh, too, in his fake and in his deviousness, tries to make the court think that he's accomplished something here. Now, I'd like to have you take a look at the admissions. Take a look at this, will you? Denied, 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 denied. Here's some more. And I think Walsh, too, is all wrong sending this stuff in. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to be done in stages. You get the documents and the interrogatories over with first. So you can see what discovery is. Lie and cover up even more. And here's a statement that they do not plan to have an expert witness, and they will not be producing an expert witness at the time of trial. An expert witness would be an expert on public access cable television. That would be, in my case, Brian Grafman or Professor Robert Perry, law professor at the New York University. I think it's terrible that Judge Smith used up all of her time and energy and her expertise on February the 27th from 2:50 p.m. to 3:40 p.m. and in response, this is the slop that she gets. Meaningless. Garbage. They're in default. They owe Glendora $295 million. They have no signed contract of 1995 September, November, December 1993, and then they have a rule book, and they have the August letter announcing their dumb plan, and a list of producers, and we've got that 4 or 5 or 6 times, deceiving the court that they're producing something. They have sent me no information I do not have. What they've sent is insufficient and inadequate. They're fugitives of discovery and fugitives of service. Hofstadter, Nair, DeLorme, Schleier. I want to see all insurance policy, and I will make up my own mind whether it's relevant or not. I want the name of the insurance company, the address, and their account executive, and the telephone number. I told you that they didn't provide the addresses and telephone numbers of the public access producers, and they're supposed to. You mean to tell me they have no files on this? They have no memos? They have no electronic memos? Did they produce those? Crooks. So Judge Smith worked so valiantly, and they turned it to zilch. And they're not going to get by with it. Furthermore, they have presented no Rule 9 statement pursuant to federal rules, pursuant to the local rules, Southern District of New York. They answer in riddles, and there shouldn't be. They made a demand on me for oral deposition, and that's okay by me. I like that, but they shouldn't be making that demand. We're doing this in phases, and the first phase is interrogatories and documents. They shouldn't be getting on to admissions and inspection. They haven't addressed inspection yet. And then after sending me this all once, which you and I have just looked over, he has to send it again. Nothing new, just repeats, just dupes, to try to deceive the court into thinking that he's doing the job. This is duplicitous Thomas E. Walsh II. And folks, it's all a mockery. It's all because people have forgotten their God and forgotten their conscience. A man wanted to order an airline ticket from Los Angeles to Mishawaka, Indiana. And the reservation clerk says, "How do you spell Mishawaka?" And the man said, "The South Bend will be close enough." And you remember how it used to be I-O-U? Now it's I-O everybody. And two ghosts were talking, and one of them said, "Frankly, I don't believe in people." Now, every time I go to a Judge Smith conference, I work hours and hours, and I write out all the things that I want to say. And I never get a chance to say them. These are left over from the conference of February 27th. I never got a chance to say those. In March, we didn't do anything. In the conference of April 2nd, you heard that one, 7 minutes. These are all of the things that I wanted to say and talk about and get resolved and move on. They I want to talk to her again about improper editorial control. McLean Cable Associates. See, this stuff is all old, it's outdated. Here's a picture of Hofstadter. Have I shown this to you before? Maybe so. This is the guy who, I don't know. He's not the one with the curly hair, he's the other one. The other one is head of U.S. West Media. And I would like to have Judge Smith see that. Oral depositions, inspection, admissions, produce all insurance agreements. That isn't done not. Franklin had to go to work with no breakfast and no lunch packed on April the 2nd because we were so busy getting ready for this conference, and it never happened. The judge walked off the bench, and Franklin's down to 155 pounds, and he should be 170. We don't have the home address of Guthrie, which Walsh II was ordered to do, but that's more deception. They are not in compliance with the 6-month rule. They're supposed to give 6 months' notice. They have not answered Glendora's demands upon them. They want to do the oral deposition of me, and they want me to bring all the documents. Well, I can't do that. And they want all the audio tapes and the videotapes. Well, we can't do that. There's too many of them, and what's more, in the courthouse, they don't allow any electronic playback. The print is faint of Walsh 2. It's hard to read. There are no federal rules of civil procedure that ask for 20 days or 10 days. Everything is 30 days. Walsh is pro se. Also, he's the one who asked for a bill of particulars when the feds gave up on bill of particulars years ago. You don't have those. You have those in state court, but you don't have them in federal court. The defendants are in default. They have failed. Their lawyer has failed, and they owe me $298 million. And if Walsh, too, was making all that belly aching about he couldn't make the time on April 2nd, how come he came up and made it with a bunch of phony documents, of course? But how come he came up and made it? How long is it going to be before trial? How much longer are we going to be in this? This is case management. He did a good job up until April 2nd. You know that the hours that they have cost us, the number of hours is approximately 410. The number of dollars is 800, and the expense in legal fees is like $105,000. She lets Ritter gets away with everything. He's obviously fleeing. He's obviously in flight. And why doesn't this court do what it's supposed to do to restore Glendora's program to TV every week where it was before that screwball, before these screwball defendants come up and break all the laws? I want their home addresses that's pursuant to a Rule 2. I haven't got that yet. See, these are all the things you never get a chance to talk about. Walsh doesn't sign things. He never declares under penalty of perjury. He lies like crazy. He gets paid for lying. The more he lies, the more he gets paid. In discovery, Glendora has to find out who made the decision, with what authority, what is its genesis, who approved it. But remember, all defendants are liable as managers and officers and board members. Diligent and law-abiding employees would not have broken the law, nor let it be broken. So who made the decision? Now they're claiming that Ann Rainey made it. The Rainey newspaper article says there are no shortage of channels. If there's no shortage of channels, why did they cut our program down to, from every week to every other week? We would like to know what Judge Smith has decided on improper editorial control. Walsh, too, has, while they dilly-dally here in court, one cable TV operator after another is going to come up and break the laws. Why not? The United States District Court isn't going to do anything to them. They're wimps. They just rule on the basis if they like you or not, or if you have a political connection, or if it's going to do them good politically. That's how they rule. They rule on what is best for them. Our hopes are buoyed by the experience of the last 100 years, in which countless thousands of people, rich and poor, have had their disputes resolved. Yes, resolved in the favor of the judges. Not by bloodshed or violence, and I'm not sure that the appellate division beats bloodshed and violence. but under our open portals in a setting designed to promote tranquility, justice, and fairness. They know nothing about all three. The Appellate Division, 2nd Department, Supreme Court of the State of New York. Out that this sovereignty issue is archaic and is antithetical to the federal tort claim. Beauty destroyed forever. Bad call, Porzio. Bad call. What's going to happen to our shape? That's, of course, more noise by Rio. They allowed to use leaf blowers in April and May. Today is November the 16th, excuse me, the 14th. It happened yesterday, November the 13th. For 6 hours of murdering like 4 people. The thing of beauty destroyed forever. Bad call, Porzio. Bad call. What's going to happen to our shape? That's, of course, more noise by Rio. They allowed to use leaf blowers in April and May. Bob Whitaker just went. This is Roberta taking 2 children being dropped off to babysit. dropped them off. You know you're being videotaped real good. AM, November 14th, 1996, Tuesday. The first truckload is gone. The tree murderers will be back to clean up their carnage. Murder the tree, but look what they did to the shrub by dropping branches onto the shrub. And look what they've done to the grass. Tree murderers. Tree murderers. Thing of beauty destroyed forever. 2 p.m. That was Katie, who just went out the window. She goes out quite a few windows. The bathroom window, the southeast window. The second load of this beautiful creation, demolished by tree murderers, has gone, and there's a third load. This is May the 14th, 1996, on Tuesday, and our beautiful shade tree is gone. It's 5 p.m. and the pieces are gone, and all that's left is this brutalized tree stump. May 14th, 1996, Tuesday. You were a wonderful and brave tree, and you were all those years accomplishing what you did. Then your life had to be truncated.
Thursday, May 9th. Hi, I'd like to get a copy of your free happy book. My name is Jed, J-E-D, Sutton, S-U-T-T-O-N. My address is 325 West 45th Street, 45, apartment 420, New York, New York, 10036. Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you, Jed.
Message 2:10:43 a.m. Friday, May 10th. Hi, Glendora. This is Carla from AM Court Reporting. I'm calling to confirm for Monday, May 13th. My number here is 761-6620. Please call back for confirmation. Thank you. Message 3:10:54 a.m. Friday, May 10th. Hi, Glendora. It's John. It's
giant brief that you saw on staying the trial.
That's it? Message 8:10:28 p.m. Friday, May 10.
This is feeding the birds and the squirrels.
I don't think it's funny to speak that. Okay, thank you. Glendora, we love you. Can we get an autograph picture, please?
Sure. Send your name and address.
Message 9:10:31 p.m. Friday, May 10. I'd like a Glendora fun book. My address is
Glendora Fun Book.
1725 Kirkwood Avenue, Irkwo, in Merritt, M-E-R-R-I-C-K, 11566. And my name is Alexis, A-L-E-S-S, Rubenstein, M-E-N-S-T-A. Thank you. Message 10:09:50 p.m. Sunday, May 12. Why did the chicken cross the road? You wanted to get message 10:09:50 p.m. Sunday, May 12. Message 9:10:31 p.m. Message 10. Message 11:10:10 a.m. Monday, May 13. Hello, this is Ben Wild leaving a message for Glendora Monday morning about a little after 10 o'clock in the morning. My number in Albany is 518-432-1002. Message 12:10:45 a.m. Monday, May 13. This is Glendora. Okay, Glendora, this is Ben Wild again. Okay. Brian Sullivan is not available before 2:30 on Thursday afternoon. So if this creates, although he's available on Friday. So, if you want to do it, the best way to do that is to try to do it on Thursday and speak at 2:30, and if we're done, it's a message 13:7:23 p.m. Monday, May 13. He was still the greatest. I still love you. Don't worry about it. I know they're putting a lot of burdens on you, but I thought you could want to hear the message 14.
Harvey Cash.
10:26 a.m. Tuesday, May 14th. Jonathan isn't in, so I left him a message to call you. Well, where is he? He's never in. Yeah. Oh, he's never in. No, he didn't know where he was. Where is he coming back?
I believe that's it, folks.
Did you left a message for him to call me? Yes, I did. Are you out there?
Okay, now we can erase them. I believe that's it.
No, I'll go back. Messages. Answer off.
End of messages. Answer off. Now we're going to erase them. So you tell them here that you want to erase them.
Answer yes to confirm.
Yes, I want to erase them.
Messages erased.
Now we got to put on a new joke. Okay, let's put on a new joke.
Record announcement.
The man called up the newspaper and he said, you put my name in the obituary column and I'm still alive. The newspaper editor says, oh, that's terrible. What will I do? How can I make it up to you? I know. Tomorrow I'll put you in the birth column. Now play it back.
The man called up the newspaper and he said, you put my name in the obituary column and I'm still alive. The newspaper editor says, oh, that's terrible. What will I do? How can I make it up to you? I know. Tomorrow I'll put you in the birth column.
Today is May the 15th, 1996. We thank you, God, for this beautiful new day. The time is 6:13 a.m. And now we will set up to videotape and dress up to videotape. We have to do it a day early, Wednesday, because of all of the TCI depositions that are going to be done tomorrow. There won't be time to videotape, and then there will be the editing in the afternoon and evening. And then Friday is TCI depositions, although not as many as there should be. Hi there, everybody. This is a new week. The week starts on Thursdays. We're reporting to you what happened from May the 9th, Thursday, to today, which is not a Thursday, May the 15th, Wednesday. What has happened about lawbreakers and about their lying lawyers and about inept judges and about your loss of justice and all your constitutional rights, what this country was founded for. We have to videotape today, Wednesday, May 15th, because we're doing depositions of the TCI lawbreakers on Thursday, which is our usual date to report to you. And we have to edit this afternoon at White Plains Public Access. So this morning will be all the reports to you at 7:29 a.m. And so we will lead off with some jokes. Peter used to shampoo with Head and Shoulders, and now he uses Mop and Glow. And Elmer's wife went to the bank and she said, I'd like to open 2 accounts. I would like to open a joint account, a checking account for me, and a deposit account for my husband. And there are 3 ways that men can wear their hair: parted, unparted, and departed. We are reporting to you on the lawbreaking of Walt Alpucci, Larkin, Wilson Babe, Cousin, Koza, Comboy, McGrath, Odell, Karamitsos, Bendage, Carlucci, former law clerk, and 2 judges, Harold L. Wood and Angelo J. Ingracia. That rotten and decayed decision by the appellate division was not only letting Harold Wood get by with his dereliction of oath in office, running a court for his own self-service, a political appointment, and kowtowing to Wilson Babe, who has the political clout, a law firm, and doing everything that the law firm tells him to do, a judge doing everything that a law firm tells him to do, so that judge can get a political advancement, a judicial hearing officer appointment. Wood, of course, is out of the court. I'm glad to say that. That's good riddance. But he is still looking for a judicial hearing officer appointment. We believe that's the only thing that's left, because they make $250 a day of your money. And there was a rumor, but it's only a rumor, that Harold L. Wood, former judge, is going to work for Wilson and Babe. It certainly is reasonable, but it's only a rumor, and it is not confirmed. Be done on that matter. On that matter, we have to ask Mr. Martin Brownstein, the chief clerk, for the briefs, and it's just unbelievable. You remember the briefs that went in on there, and they paid no attention to it. You might as well not appeal, because it's all decided ahead of time that they're going to rule for what is best for judges, and that's political influence. Those briefs have to be retrieved from Brooklyn, and it has to be a trip down to Brooklyn to get them. You remember them? The record on appeal was this big, and then the brief, before they throw them away. And then we have to write a notice of motion and an affidavit to the New York State Court of Appeals asking for leave to appeal this rotten work of the appellate division. If the appellate division was strong and honest and honorable, we would have a chance for good courts, because you'd have some place to go. But because the appellate division, and in this case, who was it? It was Thompson, Joy, I'll have to get them out for you. Because they are bad, then the bad judges in the Westchester Supreme Court know that they're going to get away with it, so they're bad too. It's all an old boys club. It's all a political club. Judges are interested only in themselves. and you are paying each of those judges in the appellate division $117,000 a year, I believe. You're paying each of those judges in the Westchester Supreme Court $113 a year, I believe. And the New York State Court of Appeals is the last resort. Now, the new Wall lawsuit, which had a really good start and was moving along until lawbreakers, Cablevision, TCI, and Continental took away our lives, and we had to stop working on it. But this is the new Wall lawsuit going to the United States District Court on the basis of denial of equal protection of the law. And this will be against Wood and Ingracia and Walsh and Wilson Babe and Alpucci and Larkin. Same reasons, the law breaking of TCI, Cablevision, and Continental. There hasn't been any life or time to put into the protest to the DHCR, who cannot read plain English, who cannot read a complaint and understand what it's about, and cannot get both sides of the complaint, and cannot make a decision. I'm talking about, what are their names down there? Well, it's so far gone because of the minds being filled with not letting Cablevision, Continental, and TCI get away with it, that this is so far from us that the mind doesn't have room to hold this. Well, a lot of good things are going on around here. We're getting shutters for the windows. We got a couple of new shrubs. Vito comes here and runs the leaf blower and all those noisy machines in April and May. Is that allowed? Doesn't he have to wait until June for a leaf blower? And a terrible thing happened Saturday at 5:55 p.m. Just like that, wind, a fierce wind, going in all directions, and rain, and hail, and a thud at 5:55 p.m. The top of the tree in the front here, it cracked, and it toppled over onto the roof. Isn't that sad? A beautiful tree like that. You saw the videotape. And it made a hole in the roof. Now, the tree could have been saved. You know, it went way up, and it could have been, it was cut off there just at the top where the branches were. It could have been saved, okay? But, as you saw in the videotape, it had to be murdered. It had to be destroyed by ignorant people, by DNA tree murderers who should be saving trees. That's the work of God, and it took many, 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 many years, and that tree cannot be replaced. And so they should have saved the tree instead of slaughtered it. So you saw that on videotape. Now, we don't have any hot water at 5 a.m. The water doesn't get hot until maybe an hour later at 6 a.m. And the heat was turned down on April the 30th, and May has been very cold, 39 degrees even, and 45 degrees. So the heat should never have been turned down. There were 7 puddles in the cellar. That problem has never, never been resolved. But one good thing is that we are getting a new roof. It's nerve-wracking to boom, 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 2 people, boom, 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 pounding nails all day. But that is happening, and we are getting a new roof. The field is glorious. Thank heaven that's not being developed. The cornerstone is in place with concrete, which it should have been done instead of 6 or 7 times being put up and just hoping that gravity was going to hold it when somebody comes along and hits it with the bump of a car and knocks it over. And then, of course, we have the fact of Roberta bringing 2 children in here to babysit all day and make money and disturb the neighbors. Voice noise. I tried to draw a little picture for you of what happened with the tree there. should have gone out and videotaped it for you, but I was so busy standing up against the law-breaking, lying, and covering up of Cablevision, Continental, and TCI. It did make a serious hole in the roof. You could hear the water coming through on the second floor, just pouring through. The fire department was here, and about 12 other people was here. Bill Gallo from the building department, who lives down at number 2 Greenwich, or number 1 Greenwich or something, was very solicitous. He was here for 3.5 hours. And by the way, we got rid of Amicone. I'm so glad we got rid of Amicone, Philip Amicone. And now we have a nice man in there, Bill Pisani. And I know Bill from getting permits to rally on county property against bad judges and crooked lawyers. So I'm so glad that Bill is there. And I went to see him when I was at City Hall, and passing in the bad reports about Marco Vici, who won't give us the number of pages and the price per page for the Stead minutes of the trial. And he was out to lunch, Bill Pisani, but he did call me back, and I've called him back, and I haven't been able to get him. But we have a nice person in there, Bill Pisani, Commissioner at White Plains Building Department. I'm glad we got rid of Amicone. Franklin paid the $28 for the furnace. We have to pay the landlord for getting a new furnace, and this happened before I ever lived here. And so we pay the rent on the first of the month, and the rent is something like $10.40 or so. And then we pay this additional $30 in the middle of the month for the furnace. See, you've got to join the Tenants Association, because the landlords have $1 million lobby, and they go up to Albany, and they put pressure on our dear legislators who don't care about you tenants, but all they care about is a landlord lobby for $1 million, and you are losing your tenants' rights that were fought for so hard. I wanted to give you the statistics. 1,263 tortious acts, which the New York Supreme Court thought fine, nothing wrong with that. 3,263 tortious acts, which the Appellate Division, State of New York, Second Department, nothing wrong with that. 3,858 pages of bad record. This is mailing number 231, exhibit number 104, and it was 3 years in April, from April 93 to April 96. That we had bad parents and bad children. And this is how it all started. The New York Supreme Court, Wood and Ingracia, never saw the videotaped evidence. They never heard any witnesses sworn. They never saw any of the testimony. It was a total denial of due process. Wood and Ingracia. And of course, who sticks up for them? Thompson, Joy, and those other 2 judges. On the malicious prosecution of police officer, White Plains police officer James Stead, and on the crooked lawyering by, of course, what else is a lawyer? Corporation Counsel, Assistant Corporation Counsel Joseph Henenberry, and by the inept work of Robert Friedman, White Plains City Judge, the collusion of those 3 to slaughter justice. We have to report on that we haven't heard from Marco Vici. We haven't heard from her as to how many pages his transcript is. We haven't heard from her how much she's charging per page. And that, of course, is devious. And it's an out-and-out rip-off. She thought she was going to get away with it, apparently. We did hear from Mr. Montello that Mr. Matusiello did receive Glendora's informa pauperis to ask the state to pay for the minutes, and the letter that says a court stenographer cannot charge more than $1.38 to the state for the minutes. So I haven't had time to check with Mr. Martusiello because of the law breaking of Cablevision and TCI and Continental, because it takes away our lives. That's all we ever do is legal papers. Yesterday it was 7 legal papers, 7. The time that Stead has taken out of our lives by saying I went through a red light when I did not is 74 hours. The dollars are $62.96. That's cumulative. How many weeks has it been? Well, you could add May 15th. This is May 15th, and it happened January 15th, so that's exactly 4 months ago. The fine is $100, and Marco Vici wants $500 for the minutes, and the appellate term insists upon the minutes. So I wish I could get a chance to talk to Mr. Martusiello and find out if the state is going to pay for that. I don't want them to take it on a record because part of this whole mess is that Robert Friedman denied constitutional rights and due process rights. And so I don't want Robert Friedman writing the record. Is there anything else to report on that? No, I guess not. That's up to date. Glendora, the Westchester edition, White Plains edition, and I think it's spilling over into somebody else's edition. And it's very, very hard to do that because you can't space the news. You don't know how much. Is there anything else to report on that? No, I guess not. That's up to date. Glendora, the Westchester edition, White Plains edition, and I think it's spilling over into somebody else's edition. And it's very, very hard to do that because you can't space the news. You don't know how much the news is going to be, how much it's going to take, how many minutes it's going to take to report to you each of these areas and the law breaking that's going on and the crooked lawyering and the inept judging. Piece of White Plains News is that Franklin went to Deputy Chief of Police Hickey yesterday and got a permit to exercise First Amendment rights on Quaropus and Lexington, the corner where the United States courthouse is. Because Glendora is going to go down there and protest the double cross offer by Judge Jed Rakoff. She's going to wear posters down with Judge Rakoff and pass out leaflets and chant down with Judge Rakoff and maybe videotape, and that will be it. There won't be any bullhorn, and you can't have posters on sticks, no sticks, and you can walk east on Quaropus and north on Lexington, back and forth, and that's just fine. That's just fine. That'll cover it. You can't block any driveways. You can't block pedestrians. Of course you can. But you can peacefully assemble, and you can exercise your First Amendment rights. We ask for the permit for every day for a month, and I'd like to give them the hours 8:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. around in there, and maybe 5 to 5:30 p.m. But my experience with the White Plains Police is that they don't bother picketers unless they get a complaint. Because I've picketed maybe 50 times, and the police have never asked for it. Completes the law breaking on Wood and Gracia, Walter Pucci Larkin, Wilson Babe, Koza Cousins Conboy, McGrath, Odell, Karamitsos, Carlucci, from May 9th, last Thursday, to today, May 15th, Wednesday. Things kept me from being a professional athlete. He says, when I played baseball, I could never hit a curveball, and when I played golf, I always did. And Bob and John said that we would be playing Major League Baseball, except that we had sinus problems. We couldn't get anybody to sign us. And the reporter said to the little old lady, "Have you lived in Westchester all your life?" And the little old lady said, "Not yet." Full script, folks. Here's the check that Franklin wrote. And it says, this is $30 for the furnace. We have to pay the landlord for repairing in addition to our regular rent, and it says the heat turns off April 30th, and it's been too cold here. And it also says, and that's for 2 months, or 2 weeks, excuse me. And there's no hot water at 5 a.m. And I should have put on 7 puddles in the cellar. Okay, we're starting the Nassau County edition of A Chat with Glendora. I hope it comes out onto the right videotape. You can't space the news. You can't tell how long the news is going to take, and how long the Nassau news is going to take, and how long the Westchester edition is going to take. So I hope it breaks on the right tape for you. This is the Glendora Happy Book. This is the paperback edition, and we only have about 60 more of those left. I think there's been over 2,000 requests for the Glendora Happy Book. And so after that, we're going to have to use the plastic back edition. And this is a very expensive edition because that plastic costs a lot of money. Didn't it, Katie? Didn't it, Kate? You want to say hello to the people so they can see how pretty you are? Oh, you're such a tiny tiger. Yes, you're a miniature tiger is what you are. A miniature. And as you can see, this plastic is big and expensive, and it's heavy. So we won't be able to send them out first class anymore. We used to send them out first class so that you'd have them the next day after you asked for the Happy Book. So they'll have to go third class. They never get them. Remember, though, when you ask for a Happy Book, make sure you put your telephone number down so that we can call you up and verify your address, because there's a stack of Happy Books over there this big that has been returned because the addresses were not distinct on the telephone answering machine. We got good news about Cablevision. We got the filing done. Did we not, Kate? And we got the paginating done. And we got the logs done, up to date. And the fourth thing is the mailing. We got the mailing out. And now I'd like to find that mailing, and I would like to give you the statistics on how much of our lives Cablevision took away from us the last 2 weeks. Oh, it's nice and little, I'm happy to say. The statistics for, there's Mr. Fontanella, who writes for a Happy Book. I like that. Joe Fontanella, I think he's in Great Neck. Oh, excuse me, Joe, Glen Cove. Okay, the hours for Cablevision, the week of April the 22nd were only 3, and the dollars were only 10. All of these papers you were up to date on them. Here is the log for the week of April 29th. So it was 3 weeks that the mailing was behind. Okay, 6 hours and $2. And this urgent paper you have read. And the bad decision by Judge Silverman. you have read. Glendora's protest the same. And now Glendora has a Nassau County address. It's 1395 New York Avenue, Route 110, the rear apartment, Huntington Station, New York, 11746. Her telephone number there is 516-385-3341. And Cablevision was notified, and Judge Silverman was notified, and crooked lawyer Robert Callaghy was notified. Here are the statistics for the week of May the 6th, the first week in May. We're in the second week of May now, and the statistics was 40.5 hours and $32.63. And the mailing is done up to here, and the mailing went out on Monday. So this file is in order, and this is the 41st file, and the number of pages is 12,400 pages of bad record. The number of bad TV chapters is 258. I believe this is 258. Half an hour each. It has been 2.5 years that Cablevision broke the law, and it's been 2.5 years that Cablevision, Dolan, Tata, Quinn, and Kofall have been lying and covering up about it. We wrote a letter to Mr. Parkinson, who is the chief clerk of the United States District Court, Southern District of New York, and we told him that Glendora dearly loves your White Plains clerks and knows them all by name and has for 4 years. She keeps them supplied daily with jokes. However, they make mistakes, and then when you ask them to correct them, they do not. 1. It is Glendora versus Cablevision Systems Corporation, not two Cablevision Systems Corporation. They have it down as Glendora versus Cablevision Systems Corporation, Cablevision Systems Corporation. There's only one, thank heaven. And they have it down Randolph, Francis Randolph Jr. They have in town as Rudolph, the red-nosed. And the cause of action is 1983 civil rights. You know how the clerks have to have that entered on the docket? The cause of action is prisoner civil rights. Well, Glendora has asked them to change this as of 2.25 years ago. Now really, Glendora could sue you and all your clerks on that for damage for reputation. Glendora is not a prisoner, never has been, and has a pristine record, has never been broken a law nor engendered the people against Glendora, nor the USA against Glendora. So come now. Mr. Clout is a treasure of information. We are lucky to have him. He's the assistant clerk of the United States District Court, Southern District of New York. And today's jokes follow. What is it? Rose, boy, G-R-O-S-E, teacher. There's no B in Rose. Boy, there was in the one I smelled. Yours in truth, Glendora, and I sent a copy of these dumb errors in the docket. You know, it's too bad that we have errors, but it's absolutely insane not to correct them. See, here's Rudolph instead of Randolph. And here's Glendora versus Cablevision Systems Corporation, Cablevision Systems Corporation. William J. Bell should be down, way, way, way down. Down around like after Quinn and Dolan. And the thing, cause of action, 1983 prisoner civil rights. Thank heavens that doesn't appear in the docket, but it is in the computer. Just making sure here. That's a docket sheet from the United States District Court, Southern District of New York. So I am very, very happy, jubilant to report to you that the Cablevision filing, paginating, log, and mailing is up to date, where it should be. That Judge Bryant, in an abuse of discretion, stayed my trial. On February 28th, we were going to pick, that was Wednesday, and on Monday, March the 4th, we were going to pick our jury. And on Tuesday, we were going to start the trial. And Mr. Galata and Mr. Picken had been subpoenaed, Mr. Patterson and Mr. Sweet, Mr. James Dolan, Mr. Patrick Dolan, Mr. Quinn, Mr. Tata, and Mr. Colefall had been subpoenaed. The conference of February 28th was to quash the subpoenas. Judge Bryant did not do that either for the County of Nassau nor for Cablevision Systems Corporation. And where was I in preparing for the trial? I was getting the number of dollars accumulated for 2.5 years that Cablevision has cost us, senior citizens, taking away our life savings. And I was getting the number of hours of our lives that Cablevision lawbreakers were causing these senior citizens. Well, I had worked an hour on it, and oh, you knew that Franklin had worked on it for 1994, and I read you those stats. But Sunday morning before church, we were able to work on it for an hour and do January to July, the number of hours, 1994. We came back after doing the TCI mailing all afternoon and spending $55 on that, getting it printed. We came back, and then in the evening we settled down, and for 2 hours we got the number of dollars and the number of hours for the rest of 1994, I believe. Monday morning we worked on it 4 hours. That was the tree murdering that was going on. A DNA tree murderers instead of, they should help a tree instead of murder it. And we got it done, folks. And here are the stats. Now this is for 2.5 years. See, I kept the hours by the week. That was smart. And I kept the dollars by the week. But it was not smart not to keep accumulated a running total. There they are. Cablevision has cost us 2,820 3/4 hours. Cablevision has cost us $5,857.28. At $250 per hour for legal papers and legal appearances, Cablevision has cost us $705,187.50. 13,400 pages of bad record, 41 volumes, and 258 TV reports a half an hour each of bad record in 2.5 years. They broke the law. Everybody knows they broke the law. They know they broke the law. But do they have the honor? Do they have the integrity to say, sorry, we'll make up for it and it'll be over? No. For 2.5 years, Cablevision, Dolan, Tata, Quinn, Colefall, et al. have to lie, 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 and cover up. And society has been so good to them. They make millions of dollars a year, the Long Island's Noble Reach. And they can't be honorable and honest and say, we broke the laws, we shouldn't have, we're sorry, we will make up for it. Complete oblivion when it comes to the 10 Commandments and when it comes to the Golden Rules and when it comes to the Beatitudes. What's your life worth if you have to sell your soul? Now, in doing this, going through all of the files, and there are 41 volumes of lying and covering up by these defendants. And in doing this, and there's 4 file drawers. They're in copy paper boxes. Just wide, as tall. And in doing this, box 1, which was setting up in office 2, on desk 5, ready for the trial to go to the court. In doing this, all of these files got organized and very neat and tidy. So the first box was taken down to the basement bin and put away. Now we have the 3 boxes. And this is the last file in the second box. This is file 36 that I just read to you from. Videotaped this for you before the camera was set up on the tripod. So you could see the massive lies and cover-up being carried on by Cablevision Systems Corporation, Charles Dolan, John Tata, William Quinn, James Colfall, and others. This record is 4 file drawers. 4 2.5 years. Cablevision job was the trial notebook. And Brian may stay the trial on February 28th, and I'm in the middle of fighting the law-breaking of another greedy cable operator, the greediest in this whole United States of America, Telecommunications Incorporated, John C. Malone, Bob Magnus, etc., and also of another greedy cable operator, Amos B. Hofstad and Continental Cablevision, which has been taken over by U.S. West Telephone. In the middle of fighting all that law-breaking, lying, and covering up, I had to stop preparing for the trial, but I never forgot that I was in the middle of preparing for the trial. And Bryant, stay it or not, I am still going to continue my preparation for the trial until it's ready. And so that would be the trial notebook, and let me show you that. 2 trial notebooks. If Volume 1 is red and Volume 2 is blue. So to pick up on that, I review the law on trials. Now that's Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, Rule 38, and I'm up to about Rule 52 now. One of those is subpoenas. You knew that Franklin filed a lawsuit against Cablevision because they took the subpoena checks when the trial was stayed. We had to give them $70 each person, these millionaires, $70, $40 for appearing in the court for 1 day, and $30 travel from Nassau to Westchester. And when the trial was stayed, these crooks, instead of returning the checks, they cashed them. They used them for their own personal, well, they converted them to their own personal uses, and Franklin filed a lawsuit against them, small claims, $350 that they stole from him in Yonkers, small claims court. So currently I've been able to do 15 minutes. I do 15 minutes when I can, and I've been able to do 4 of those, and I'm looking at the Federal Rules of Evidence, and it's really thick, hard, heavy reading, and then I'm reading what to say to the jury. So I would just keep on reading this. I hope if I, if nothing, if I get the chance, I'll just keep on reading and reviewing the trial book. I spent 140 hours preparing for the trial, and then I'll just go on to Volume 2 here. So that's good news, be able to keep the trial fresh and reviewed. Now this is the appeal of the Bryant bad decision to stay the trial. February 28th, Wednesday. Bryant stayed the trial when on Monday we were going to pick our jury and bring these lawbreakers to justice. Well, you'll hear all about that. Let's see, it was nice, at least TCI, I didn't get any weird telephone calls from the TCI lawyer, Ben Wells, yesterday afternoon, and so I had a little time, a little peace, and I made up writing the appellant's brief to reverse Bryant's bad decision and get this trial going and get it over with. I had time to write on that, and I covered the work that didn't get done from last Thursday to today, Wednesday, and that's what you hear Franklin typing now. And I finished writing the statement of facts. So the next thing is the argument. We have Jim Maxwell satisfied. The stars are in the upper left-hand corner. This that you just, right here, This is the appeal being written. And you knew that we had done the first. This is the instructions from the U.S. Court of Appeals, the acknowledgement letter. That's the first part. These are the franchises that that stupid Callaghy sent, and he does this to try to deceive his clients, Cablevision, Dolan, Tata, Quinn et al., that he's doing something, that he's accomplishing something. He isn't accomplishing a thing, and I have to write all of you people out there in Nassau County franchise agreements with this greedy cable operator, Monopoly Cablevision. And so I have to use up the backs of that. There's something like 300 of those. And then these are the instructions that come from the United States Court of Appeal, an acknowledgement letter, and an appearance, who's going to appear. Certainly Glendora is going to appear for the plaintiff. And I haven't seen who's going to appear for Cablevision when this comes to an order. I have to write the appellant's brief, Cablevision has to write the appellee's brief, I have to write a reply brief, and then we have to have an oral argument. And usually, well, if they're going to decide against you, they usually do that the next day. And then if they're going to decide for you, it could take quite a while. Last time it took from September to January when I won the appeal against Bryant. This is my second appeal against Bryant. All right, so we had it up at the last report, typing the table of authorities is done, the table of contents is set up. I'm going to read you the statement of the case. Okay. The nature of the case, the course of the proceedings, the disposition in the lower court. This is a long, long story. It is best to refer to the docket. It never should have been this long, 2¼ years. Cablevision took Glendora's program off TV on November 12, 1993, because of pressure by the Nassau politicos who did not want their bad but true record read on TV. This would be Thomas Galata and James Picken, and certainly Mr. Dillon, the district attorney, and Stephen I. Race, who did nothing about the fraud of Scott Lord. It would certainly be about the bankruptcy court, Judge Hall, and about the trustee, Richard O'Connell, and about the United States trustee, and I think his name was Howard Jones, I think, and Judge Duberstein, who's the chief judge of the Eastern Bankruptcy District. They did not want these you to know that they weren't doing their job. So Glendora sued on December 7, 1993. Hastily and superficially, Judge Bryant dismissed the case. Glendora made a Rule 60B motion to reconsider on the basis of 47 United States Code 531E. No cable operator shall exercise editorial control over public use of channel. No, and Judge Bryant ignored 531E. Glendora appealed the Judge Bryant decision on March 19, 1994. Jay Bryant insinuated Glendora should go to the state court, so she sued Cofault Cablevision on March 3, 1994, and she won. And the case made law. New York State Executive Law, Article 28, 829.3, also says that no cable operator shall exercise, prohibit or limit, that's the way they put it, or exercise editorial control over public use of channel. This is the public's channel, public access. It was given to the public by Congress. On July 28, 1994, Judge Silverman of Westchester Supreme Court ordered that plaintiff has a statutory right to have her program on TV, and it must be returned to TV. It was returned to TV on September 3, 1994, and it's been on ever since, and this is May the 15th, 1996. Thank you, Judge Silverman. Because Judge Silverman did not give Glendora her costs of $1,000, and that's another cheap thing that Cablevision did in addition to cashing the $350 subpoena checks This is how cheap Cablevision is. They had an order to show cause that Glendora should not get her victory costs. She beat them in the Westchester Supreme Court. Her costs were $1,000. The court should have awarded them. And Judge Silverman never gave Glendora her damages of $31 million. Glendora, I think it was more. That's a mistake. It was $181 million in Supreme Court. It was $31 million in federal court. Glendora appealed to the Appellate Division, 2nd Department on August 26, 1994. There, the case languaged for 2 years, throwing the timing all off. Going back to Judge Bryant, Glendora argued her appeal before Judges Minor, Judge Van Graeflin, and Judge McLaughlin of the Second Circuit on September 20th, 1994. On January 11th, 1995, they vacated Judge Bryant's order and remanded the case. That's a big victory for a pro se. That was with the help of my amicus curiae, Robert T. Perry, and my other amicus curiae, Brian D. Graeflin. On July 19, 1995, 1 year after the Judge Silverman victory in Westchester Supreme Court, Judge Bryant ruled that Cablevision did violate 531E. They did exercise editorial control over public use of channel. Glendora had a private right of enforcement. I didn't have to go to the FCC or the New York State Cable Commission, and that Glendora was entitled to compensatory damages. Judge Bryant denied defendants' motion to stay discovery and ordered discovery to proceed by the rules. From Memorial Day 1995 to Christmas 1995, Cablevision defied every discovery rule, 26 to 37, and Judge Bryant let them. Cablevision has lied and covered up all that time. Finally, on February 3rd, 1996, Judge Bryant declared the case ready for trial. It is now 2¼ years since the case began. He was adamant about the trial and was determined he would try the case. On March 4th, 1996, we were to pick the jury. On February 13th, 1996, the Appellate Division, 2nd Department, succumbed to the same political pressure Cablevision did in November 1993. That would be Galata and Picken and the DA and the bankruptcy court. The panel ordered that Judge Silverman reconsider his decision to put Glendora back on TV. This was their real motivation, and that is why their decision and order of February the 3rd, 1996 is so weird. It's a weird, weird order, as so many have described it. For inscrutable reasons or for private reasons, Judge Bryant stayed the Glendora versus Cablevision trial on February the 28th, 1996, Wednesday at 3 p.m., just 5 days before it was to start on Monday, March 4th, and he was wrong to do this. At the outset, when Judge Bryant ignored 531E in dismissing the December 1993 case, Glendora could not let such an important action lie fallow. On March the 28th, 1994, Glendora and Charles Dolan, Cablevision. Glendora sued Charles Dolan and Cablevision, and Judge Broderick got the case, and he was too ill to function. He dismissed the case, and he even ruled that Cablevision is not a cable TV operator. Glendora appealed, and Judges Mahoney and McLaughlin and a visiting judge from the Midwest dismissed the appeal. Judge Bryant, in his decision of July 19, 1995, overruled Judge Broderick. And that's the end of the statement of the case. Now here's the statement of facts. Glendora is a public access producer and has been since public access began in 1972, Anno Domini. Cablevision Systems Corporation is a cable TV operator, the nation's 4th largest, and is headquartered in Woodbury, Long Island. Charles Dolan is a CEO and chairman, but in 1995 he stepped down as CEO and handed the position over to his son James. Of course, there is no stated reason why, because these defendants lie and cover up and pay lawyers' fees for the same. Mr. Kofall had the highest position a non-Dolan ever held, president of Cablevision Corporate. When Glendora brought the three lawsuits, December the 6th, 1993, March the 7th, 1994, and March the 29th, 1995, they sued Cablevision 3 times. Mr. Kofall was fired. He is now in North Carolina working for somebody else. Actually, Franklin sued them in small claims. So it's 4 times. United States Magistrate Judge Fox would not let Glendora depose Mr. Kofall, who was a decision maker. This was a miscarriage of justice, as was Magistrate Fox's denial of Glendora's insistence of deposing Charles, James, and Patrick Dolan, Nassau County Executive Thomas Galata, and James Picken, about whom Glendora reported on TV, along with others she knew to be desecrating oath and office. Mr. Picken is head of the Oyster Bay Town Republican Committee. Mr. Dolan and Mr. Tata live in Oyster Bay. So Magistrate Judge Fox's repeated denial of the request to depose these people was improper indiscretion. It also was improper discretion not to permit deposition of defendants on videotape, since this is Glendora's field, and Glendora's informer paupers. Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 30B2 says that you can depose people on videotape. Judge Fox and Judge Bryant cost Glendora $1,300 on court stenographers, for which Glendora spent her monthly Social Security check of $455, 3 times. Court stenographers have to go, as the study by the Federal Judicial Center illustrated. They are a rip-off, and it takes them 30 days to produce a record. Isn't that beautiful, Franklin's typing? An audio tape Glendora can have instantly at no cost. Glendora is in the middle of discovery this May 14, 1996, with TCI, 96 Civ 0140 JSR, another cable TV company that is murdering public access. Production of documents and depositions by these defendants compared with the weakling permissiveness of the Judge Bryant court on Cablevision is like day and night. Judge Bryant let Cablevision break every discovery rule 26 to 37. And believe me, Cablevision will break every rule and every law there is. Further, in Glendora versus Hofstetter, 95 Civ 6814 BDP, Continental Cablevision, which reduced our public access from every week to every other week, thus prohibiting and limiting, the discovery is being handled far above the evasiveness, lying, and cover-up that Robert Callaghy got away with under Judge Bryant in the Cablevision case. There was one exception in the Cablevision proceedings. Magistrate Judge Fox did an excellent job deposing Charles Former. Charles Former, he told to leave his courtroom for making faces, and so Charles Former was ejected from Judge Fox's courtroom. After 2.5 years, Glendora finally got the Cablevision lawbreakers to trial. She has spent 120 hours preparing for the trial. She has 2 loose-leaf notebooks of trial preparation, which you've just seen. Glendora and Franklin spent $700 for subpoenas on James and Patrick Dolan, CEO and Vice President, other Cablevision executives, and upon Thomas Galata and James Picken and 2 underlings, Messrs. Patterson and Sweet. Okay, I'll go in and get the pick up what Franklin is typing. In Nassau County Consumer Affairs. At the February 28, 1996 hearing to quash these, Judge Bryant, for mysterious reasons, violated Glendora's right to jury trial, Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, Rule 38. It was frustrating, heartbreaking, and infuriating. Glendora made a jury demand twice, first complaint and amended complaint. To date, the law-breaking of Cablevision, Dolan, Tata, Quinn, et al. have cost Glendora and Franklin 2,800 hours of their senior citizen lives, 68 years old and 77 years old, $5,800 and $700,000 worth of legal papers, 258 chapters on TV, 1/2 hour each, 278 mailings, and 134,000 pages of files. No, 13,400. Sorry, Franklin, that's my writing. The Judge Bryant lapses of memory, errors, and falsifications, along with his usual exhibitionism, were outrageous. Glendora listed every one of them and with analysis set the record straight. You will see this in the argument. For some reason, Judge Bryant wanted to escape from his trial, even though he was the one who pushed so relentlessly for it to happen. It is as if he wanted to postpone it until he retires and will never have to face it again. Plaintiff Glendora is an individual producing and hosting cable TV programs that relate acts done by community businesses and institutions that are wrong and that injure citizens. Glendora reads to her television viewers, that's you, the legal papers and letters and tells each week what happens in these matters. She simply exposes the public record to cable TV viewers. Plaintiff is a citizen and resident of the state of New York, county of Westchester, city of White Plains, and of the county of Nassau, Huntington Station. Glendora has monitored the Judge Bryant court for 3 years. She has seen him as lickety-split as possible, get rid of cases left and right. He precipitously says that if you appeal any order, you have instantly lost his jurisdiction. Other judges do not do that. While an order is being appealed in the United States Court of Appeals, the action still goes on in the United States District Court, but never with Judge Bryant. It was his haste of superficiality that cost his missing the 531E claim in March of 1994, a large blooper. He missed entirely that Cablevision had violated a major statute. Title 47 of the United States Code 531, no cable operator shall exercise editorial control over public use of channel. Was producer of cable TV shows since 1972 when public access started. Plaintiff also is frequently on broadcast TV, WCBS TV, WNBC TV, WABC TV, WPIX TV, WNEW TV, and WWOR TV, the CBS television network, and the NBC television network. Plaintiff has been in television for 45 years since 1950 when she started out at NBC Hollywood, running the mimeograph machine. Defendants are citizens and residents of Nassau County and of Suffolk County, state of New York, various towns of Long Island. They are all employees of Cablevision Systems Corporation. Cablevision Systems Corporation is a corporation organized and existing by virtue of the law of the state of New York, by virtue of you. They can exist and operate only because you say so. With its principal place of business located at 1 Media Crossways, Woodbury, New York, 11797, 516-364-8450, and is engaged in the business of cable television services and cable television programming. Plaintiff videotaped a record of lying, stealing, and cheating by a home improvement contractor, Scott Lord, in Nassau County from September 8, 1986 to the present. Plaintiff simply reported what happened and read the public record on this individual. More than 30 money judgments listed in the Nassau County Clerk's Office, more than 30 customer complaints listed in the Nassau County Department of Consumer Affairs, more than a dozen fraudulent actions brought against him in the Nassau County District Attorney's Office, more than 30 actions brought against him in the Nassau County Sheriff's Office. Ooh, I have to take that out. Other cases against him in the Nassau County District Court, both civil and criminal, more than 30 actions against him by the Parking Violations Bureaus of New York City and of other New York municipalities, warrants against him by the State of New York Employee Insurance Fund, Department of Labor, and Department of Taxation and Finance. Glendora reported these bad records and the tolerance of the same by James Picken, Nassau Commissioner of Consumer Affairs, under the full knowledge of Thomas Galata, County Executive, and of Dennis Dillon and Stephen Irace, the District Attorney, Consumer Fraud Department. These officials got more and more worried about these bad but true reports that were on TV every Friday night, 10 p.m., Channel 25, and being heard and seen by you. After the first 6 programs were cablecast, 4 more, 2 come up in the next month. I'm starting reading my writing. It's not so good. November 1993, which were in the custody of Cablevision at the time. These 4 were even more graphic and telling, exposing the desecration of oath and office of these Nassau County officials. The same were screened, or they found out about these programs and pressured Cablevision personnel, no matter what, do not let those programs be on the tube. This is in November of 1993. This explains the haste and irrationality, desperation and fear, arrogance and ignorance that broke the law, 531E, and 829.3, no cable operator shall exercise editorial control over public use of channel, and 1983, the law that you and I have talked about so much, that you have certain rights given to you by Congress and by the Constitution of the United States, and if anybody under color of state, working for the state, the federal, the New York, the county government, or the town government, if anybody acting under color of state violates those laws, then that somebody is liable to you. And so, as I read you this, you will see that this came up quite precipitously. Thomas Garger called Glendora on November the 12th, 1993, Friday at 4:50 p.m., the very last day of the week, the very last hour of the working week, and 5 hours before the program was to be cablecast that night. Thomas, I have to call you because I don't have good news. I have to call you and tell you that the executives in the company sat down and reviewed your program, and I have to take it off the air. Why is that? What they're saying is that the public is not really the place for someone to talk specifically about their individual difficulties with another party, and that the subject material is not pertinent to the general subscriber population of the system. And that's what they tell me. Glendora. Now, who is they? It came from my boss, the general manager of Long Island. What's his name? Aznara, but I believe he got his director from somebody in corporate. Who would that be? Probably the legal department or Bill Quinn. I don't really know. I'm just saying it came down from corporate. When did you get this word? About 3:30 this afternoon. You got it by telephone? No, I was called over there. I had a meeting with Joe Aznara about other things, and that is one of the things he brought up to me. You went up to Woodbury? Yeah. And that's one of the things he brought up, among other things. How much time did he spend on it? Oh, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. Do you know when he got the decision? No, I don't. You don't know how long he had it before he told you? There was talk a couple of weeks back. What's that? Well, some of the executives caught the program a few weeks back, and there was some conversation. That is the last I heard of it until he called me down there. And you heard that a couple of weeks ago? Yeah, third or fourth show. Well, what are they going to do? They just told me not to air the show starting tonight, with no notice at all, right? Yeah, with no notice at all, see? Those 4 tapes, the next 4 tapes to go on the TV, were sitting there in Cablevision's custody. And they were screened. And the word, anyway, above all, no matter what, no matter how many laws you break, don't let those programs be seen by you, the public. So that's why that happened all so precipitously. And I have those tapes. And that's evidence that I'm going to show to the jury. What more need I tell you? The whole record of this law breaking, the paid lying of Robert M. Callaghan, and the cover-up for 2.5 years is yours and your phalanges. It's 4 huge, obese, bulging files of cover-up and court manipulation, a drain on a government shut down in January 1996 for lack of funds. Judge Bryant did a bad job, and that is why his work is before the United States Court of Appeals twice. Here's the day law that the defendants broke. I'm going to show you a picture of it. As I understand, now this hasn't been typed yet, it's just a monitor. But there it is. The cable operators shall not exercise any editorial control over any public, educational, or governmental use of, what's that word? Channel capacity provided pursuant to this section, and this section, of course, is 531E. That comes from the Cable Act of 1984, as amended in 1992, and is codified as Title 47, United States Code, Section 521 et sec. They must go to trial immediately. Cablevision must go to trial immediately, must reverse Bryant's decision to stay. Glendora pleads you overrule his stay immediately and get that trial accomplished and justice be done after 2.5 years. That's long enough. Judge Bryan is not fulfilling your mandate of November 11th, 1995. Finish up this case. And that's the end of the statement of facts. Next will come the argument. And I hope to work on that this week and read it to you next week and submit it to the United States Court of Appeals the week after. Under color of state, that by a preponderance of the evidence, Glendora has proved that Nassau County political officials pressured Cablevision to take the program off because they didn't want the bad reports. You look at this whole thing, you know, there's no other motive. There is no other motive. That is the only motive that makes any sense. That her civil rights have been damaged and she should be compensated. So let's call it a jury charge. And I want to write it up, and I'm reading Sand, Judge Sand, who's in the United States District Court, wrote this book on jury charges, and I keep looking and looking, and I'm reading some of them now. What a judge says to a jury. The judge just looks that up. I've got to go back to the Supreme Court library, and I've got to keep looking until I find a jury charge that fits. And by the way, I argued before Judge Sand. As I say, he's a U.S. District Court judge, but they brought him into the appellate division when they, they brought him into the U.S. Court of Appeals when they were short a judge, and I argued before him the emergency stay against TCI on February 1st, taking our programs off of Channel 8. This is where we made law. You see, this is called the United States Code Annotated, and it lists the United States Code, and after it lists the law, it lists cases where how the law has been interpreted, and you and I made law. This appears in here. See, this is 531E. No cable operator shall exercise editorial control over public usage channel. So you see that Glendora versus Cofold in there? See it? So you see, we made law. Now there's only one thing left to report to you about from May the 9th to today, May the 15th. On the law-breaking of Cablevision Systems Corporation, Charles Dolan, John Tata, William Clint, et al. And that is those two logs are out of place. 35. And that is my investigation. I want to go out to Long Island, and I want to investigate. I want to ask people, what do you know about this? Do you have any evidence? Did you see it happen? Do you have any documents? And I want to ask you and everybody else, and I'm asking you right now, if you know anything about it, please call me so that I can use it in the trial, and your name will never be mentioned. You know, you will be protected. I want to go out and get more evidence. So that's it, the Cablevision investigation. And we have reported to you on everything, I believe. That's Franklin typing the Bryant brief, the statement of facts. The time now is 9:11 a.m. 9/11 on May 15th, 1996. And we're going to close for jokes and more. Remember now, if you want a happy book, you're going to have to leave your telephone number so we can verify your address, because too many happy books are coming back. Cost 55 cents to send out each one, and it disappoints you that you don't have a happy book, and it takes a quarter of an hour to send out one. So send your telephone number or say it so that your address can be verified. And now we're going to have 3 jokes, and that ends the report on Cablevision. Marilyn said, I finally wrote something that was accepted by Simon & Schuster. Really? What? My check for the Book of the Month Club. And did you hear what the publisher said to Leo Tolstoy? Now look, Leo, either you're going to write a book about war or you're going to write a book about peace. And in a beauty shop, the gossip alone is enough to curl your hair. This is volume 9 of the Continental Lawbreaking. The defendants are Hofstadter, Nair, DeLorme, Schleier, Hawthorne. The paper I pull out happens to be, and it's really hard to see it. Ritter, Michael Ritter, Nancy Hawthorne, Jeffrey T. DeLorme, Timothy P. Nair, Amos B. Hofstadter Jr., William T. Schleier, it should be, Continental Cablevision Incorporated, Greg Sanders, Douglas Guthrie, Diane Rainey, Melissa Cooper, and American Cablevision Cable Systems of New York Incorporated, and against their lawyer, Thomas E. Walsh II, to report that I have been able to get the Continental Hofstadter filing up to date. I've been able to get the pagination up to date. I've been able to get the logs up to date, and there wasn't any mailing. The last mailing went out on April the 27th. That's 2 weeks ago. So it's all up to date, and I'm so happy about that. I'm going to read you the stats. 547 hours. Continental law-breaking, lying, and covering up has cost us $1,047.59. It's cost us of our savings. And in legal work, charging a lawyer charged $250 an hour, an out-and-out rip-off. But then what would you expect of a lawyer? In lawyers' work, writing papers and going to court, $135,750. It's 2,510 pages of bad record. It's 10 volumes. This has gone on 39 weeks. The courts have not brought it to justice. You wouldn't expect the courts to do that. And it's 47 TV reports. This is the 48th, I believe. I'm happy to report to you that there has been time to read the pro se manual. This is written by Lois Bloom and Elizabeth Ann Etkin, and it's wonderful. And it tells you when your rights have been violated and you want to go to court for justice. It tells you, first of all, the introduction, the pro se office, how it works, the cost of filing a lawsuit. Now this is for the United States District Court, Southern District of New York. The court system, so-called, I haven't seen much system to it. The jurisdiction and venue, where the case will be trialed and whether the court has jurisdiction over it. And E is legal research, legal research. But it's very good. You have a claim, and you go to the library, the law library, down in Manhattan's on the 25th floor. There's a very good law library here on the 9th floor of White Plains in the county courthouse, and Nassau County has a superb Supreme Court library. And so you go there and you find your claim, and then you look up the United States Code Index and you find out what law applies to your claim, and then you go to the United States Code Annotated and you find out what cases have interpreted this law and how it's been interpreted. And then you look at all the federal reporters and find the cases that they have bound in books. And then you sit down and you start writing your complaint. Then you have to file your complaint, and then you have to serve your complaint, service of process. And then if you want to file an amended complaint, it tells you how to do that. And then if you want motion practice, how to make a motion to the court. A motion to the court is simply asking the court to do something for you. You want certain relief, and you ask that court. You tell the court what the relief is that you want, what law says you can have that relief, and then you tell the court to give you that relief. There's a section in here on magistrate judges. There's a section in here on that horrible stuff, discovery. And there's a section in here on what comes after that, the trial. And then if you don't like the decision, how to appeal it. And then the glossary. And the glossary is really, judges should read this and lawyers should read this. It tells you what an action is. It tells you what an affidavit is. It tells you what you came to court for. You can be in court, as I have been, for 6 months, and nobody dares mention the gravamen. Nobody dares tells you what you came to court for. Mine is freedom of speech. I've been in court here with Continental and editorial control for how many weeks did I tell you? All right, we figured out this way. From August of 95 to May of 96, that's 9 months. 45 weeks more. And nobody has dealt with the issue. The issue is that my freedom of speech is violated by these crooks. Continental, Hofstadter, now taken over by U.S. West Telephone. The courts prey upon you. Somebody violates your... off of that. You're losing your life, you're losing your ability to make a living, you're losing your sleep, you're losing good food and good eating. But all the times the judges are making money on that. 100,000 a year, 150,000 a year, your tax money. And everybody's making money off of you because you had this misfortune, and the misfortune is that somebody violated your rights. Courts have always been bad, folks. You go back to Jesus Christ and Pontius Pilate. Courts have always been bad. They were bad in England, early England. They're bad now. What happened from May the 9th to today, May the 15th,